Welcome to week 7 of the Advanced Sprint Distance Training Plan. This is the final week of the current training block, which is basically our aerobic base plus introduction to high intensity training block. And next week we will head into a deload week where volume drops down to 11 hours. So you'll get a good chance to absorb all of the work you've done in this block. This week, though, is close to identical to the previous week. Identical volume. Some of the workouts change slightly. In the swim in particular, there's a little bit of rotation of workouts, basically. And on the bike, our intense workout, the 30-15s, go up to 3 times 11 times 30. But other than that, a lot of things are, or all things, almost all things are pretty much identical. The strength training as well, there is the rotation that you're used to by now. So this week we don't have the longer circuit, but we have 3 shorter circuits of 20-minute strength and conditioning workouts. But even though you have that deload week coming up next week, don't see that as an excuse to stray from the disciplined and maybe slightly boring and repetitive pursuit of optimal performance. Never forget the purpose of the work that you're doing here, with the primary focus being on building that aerobic base. And in order to do that, you need to do the majority of your training below that first lactate threshold, LT1. So we're talking about your training zones 1 and 2. You can let it rip if you want to on the intense workouts this week in particular, knowing that you have an easier week coming up next week. So that's fine. But even if you feel fitter and stronger and that the pace comes easier to you when you're working at an easy effort, do hold yourself back in terms of pace and power for the aerobic work. You'll thank yourself later for that. The one thing that you can do if you want to challenge yourself a bit at this point is to choose the longer versions of workouts that have adjustable durations. So going for 3 hours 30 minutes instead of 3 hours on the endurance ride on Saturday, for example, or going for 1 hour 30 minutes instead of 1 hour 20 with the run. So that's one thing that you can do, but make sure that you are ready to absorb that additional volume and load by having good sleep and nutrition habits. And the nutrition-wise, that means both within and outside of the workouts. So including workouts like 3 hours and 30 minutes of riding, even at an endurance intensity, you should fuel that well. A 90-minute run, you should fuel that pretty well. Not necessarily as much as the 3 hour 30-minute ride because it's so much longer, but you should definitely have something for a 90-minute run, even an endurance run. And of course, outside of workouts as well, good daily nutrition habits. So if you're looking to improve your performance, it's pretty simple, even though it's not easy. You just require good, consistent work, quite a lot of it, sometimes hard, over months and years, but backed up with having ample opportunity for the body to absorb the load that you're exposing it to. And 99% of that absorption really comes down to, well, first of all, the training plan being good and not overloading you too much, but outside of that, having good sleep and nutrition habits. So that's why I keep going on about it a little bit. But that's all that I had to say for this week, really. Enjoy the week, good luck, and I'll talk to you next week.